Welcome to the Empowered Mind podcast with Joelle and Natalie Rivera. We are on a never-ending quest to master the power of our mind, develop a growth mindset, and explore the leading edge of positive psychology and human potential so we can take radical personal responsibility for creating our destinies and reaching our potential.
So let me ask you, are you successful? Or how do you define success? Because what does that even mean? There's so many people say that they want to be successful in life and that they want to be successful in this area of their life, but they don't really define it. It's just like this vague thing that no one can actually ever achieve.
And the truth is that if you don't define what success is to you, it's absolutely impossible to ever get there. Because if you don't know what you're after, then you're just kind of going about your life and seeing what happens. And that usually means that you're going to be operating based on other people's principles of what success means, which means once you get there, you're actually not going to feel really good about it. So how will you know that you're actually successful if you still feel like crap, even once you've reached this supposed goal that you've set for yourself?
And in fact, you're probably very successful right now. You just don't realize that you are. For example, you might be successful at creating dysfunctional relationships. You might be successful at staying in a terrible job. You might be successful at surrounding yourself with people who are miserable, because all that is part of success. We create success the way we want to. It takes effort to create the life that we have, whether you realize it or not. And that's the thing, that we have options in the life that we have and the life that we want to create. So we have to identify, okay, I might be successful in creating this thing I don't want, because every time I get into a relationship, I create the same relationship over and over again. But what about if I redefine what success means to me? If I say I want a better relationship, what does that even mean? And then define what a successful relationship would be.
And you see what happened though, like with the relationship example, because you did not define what success would be, you just kind of went about your life and you got really good at being one way. So like Joelle was saying, that you are already successful. You're just not successful in the way that you want to be. And so what does that imply? It implies two things. One, you need to know what it is that you want. What would success look like? Not just overall in general, but like in any specific area. Like what would a successful relationship look like? What would a successful career look like? But then two, once you know that, it's also knowing like, what are the things that I have to do on a regular basis to become successful? Because you can see in your life, if you look around, all the things that you might say you're not successful at, but we're to say you're really successful at doing the things that you need to do to get to where you are.
Yeah, and one of the things that I've seen, and we've worked with a lot of people, we worked with tens of thousands of people from all over the world, different social economics, and we've met people that you would look at it from the outside and you'd be like, wow, this person is very successful. He seems to have a great relationship. He has very wealthy, drives a great car, lives in a big house, but yet they don't feel successful because it's never enough. So no matter what they have in their life, they're always looking at this fictitious story that they've created of what success is going to be. And that's the problem, that unless you define it, you'll never know when you get there. So then you'll always beat yourself up in life because it's never good enough. It's never achieving the success level because it's an illusion that you've created that you can't actually achieve. So the best thing that you could do is define what a success looks like in each area of your life. And then the more clarity that you have, the better that you're able to identify it, the more you'll know when you get there and the more that you'll celebrate and be grateful that you're actually there.
Well, and the reason why it's so important is because the truth is that these images that we hold in our mind of what success might look like, first of all, they're usually other people's images that basically they're telling us what we should think successful looks like. But we're not also asking the deeper question, which is, what does success feel like? And what would actually make me feel that way? Because when we've worked with people and we've really gotten down to the root of what they want, everybody just basically wants to be happy. But the problem is that they're always putting their happiness out into the future, saying like, I'll be happy when we, reach this certain point, or I change this job, or so whatever that success that they're after. But they never really look more deeply at like, what would a happy life really look like? Because most people assume that they need to have, all of this money or some certain lifestyle, but that they don't ever really ask themselves if that's what they want. Is that actually what would make them successful? Or would they care more about success because they have a great, happy, healthy, psychologically sound family? Or would it be because they are reaching a certain milestone in their own personal growth. Maybe it's not something external.
And part of the problem is that a lot of people define success with a lot of money or exterior things like that. But again, like you're saying, there's so many different ways for us to look at success. For example, for us, it's not about the money. For us, success means having the freedom to do what we want, when we want, with who we want, right? And that is success. That is having that flexibility of time, working on projects that we're passionate about without feeling like, we have to report to someone or something like that, or we have this deadline that we always have to meet for someone else. So that for us is success, to really be able to feel that freedom. So when that's our driving force, it's a lot easier to get there because we're not overcomplicating doing all these things, trying to create this business that's massive business that's going to bring in all this money, complicate our lives because it's not bringing the success that we want. As for other people, they'll get there and they'll create these businesses, they'll create all this wealth, but they're miserable because they didn't create it in defining the success that they want. I'll give you another example. I know a lot of people that success for them was getting a degree and having this title and stuff like that. In fact, I knew someone, he got his master's, and once he got his master's, he realized that he was miserable because it's not what he wanted to. And eventually what he did was that he ended up buying a boat and taking people on like scuba diving trips and snorkeling trips and opened up a business doing that. And that was successful to him because success meant that he got to play in the water every day and follow his passions.
And so, as you can see from these examples, a lot of times what happens is that our definition of what would make us successful is all about the perception of other people and other people looking at us and thinking we're successful, that we're trying to get accolades, we're trying to reach these specific accomplishments that other people are going to see as valuable. This is why people, feel like they want the, huge house with the white picket fence and the perfect yard and the dog named Fufu. They're just trying to show off for their neighbors. And it might look like success to the outside world, but it rarely feels like success to the people in it. And again, it's all because they're never really asking themselves at the core what they want. Because that's really what it's about. Success is about knowing what you want and going for it and creating life on your terms, not on everybody else's terms.
And there's a quote that you like to say that I really like, so I don't know if you want to share it.
And actually, this is an Anthony Robbins quote. And I think that he totally nails it, which is the whole purpose of what we're saying here. And that is that success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure.
So define your success and move forward to achieving your dreams on your own terms. Thank you.
Thank you, fellow Freedom Junkies, for listening. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. And if you want to help us grow, please rate and share this podcast. You can also become a member of Freedom Nation. Visit freedomorbustpodcast.com and sign up to receive access to exclusive content and take the 21-day happiness challenge. As you know, we believe that entrepreneurship is the ultimate form of empowerment, which is why we created the Side Hustle Business Startup course for anyone looking to create their own income and take back their power. We offer an exclusive discount for our podcast listeners. Find out more at freedomorbustpodcast.com.